Today I got for you guys 10 tips to help you become better players at Modern Warfare 3, and it doesn't matter if you're new to the game or you've been playing for 10 years or anything like that. These tips are going to help everyone just the same. So if you want to get better at the game, you've come to the right video. Now I'm going to be talking about a few things, and I will say that there's one tip in this video. We'll talk about it a little bit later because it takes a little bit to talk about, maybe a minute or two, but it's probably the most important tip in the game, and a lot of people get this wrong. A lot of people forget about this, and if you're doing it right, you're going to be winning most of your gunfights. Now what I want to say first is if you guys could let me know down in the comments below, what is the highest kill streak you guys got in this game? I've earned a swarm already, the highest one you could get, so I'm really happy with that. I probably have like 20 of them already or something. I don't run it in every single game, but I did get a lot. But the reason I bring up kill streaks is because you need to use streaks that you could earn. You don't want to put on kill streaks that are way too high for you. So if you're a player who could barely get a merciless, that's 10 kills without dying, you don't want to put the swarm on because that's like 15 kills I believe or something like that. You don't want to run a swarm if you can't consistently earn it. So by putting your streaks lower, run a UAV, a counter UAV, put a sentry gun on, it doesn't matter, run lower kill streaks. Once you get used to earning those streaks, then I suggest bumping it up. And the reason I say this, and this is tip number one, is because when you play for streaks, you play a lot more conscious. You're focusing more on the game. You're focusing on staying alive. It's going to help you get better overall. So once you start earning those low streaks over and over and over again, put it higher, put it higher. And I always recommend running a UAV. That's not one of the tips, but I do always recommend running a UAV at all times because it's going to help you out a lot. And if your teammates aren't running it, you'll just be happy that you have it on. Now, another tip I want to move on to, tip number 2 here, is to stick to the edges of maps. So many times I just hold off on one of the edges and I just see enemies running around to the center of the map looking for as many kills as possible, and it's just not going to happen. You're not going to get a lot of kills from the center of the map. In fact, you're probably going to die a lot more if you go towards the center. Now, I'm going to give you guys an example here. You're standing right in the middle of the map. You don't have to think of it as being in-game. Just think of you standing in the middle of the map. There is so many areas that the enemies could look at you from. It's not even funny. They could be behind you, in front of you, beside you, on the other side. They could be up top in a window, down below in a window, in a doorway to your left. They could literally be anywhere when you're standing in the middle of the map, and that's just way too many areas for you to look at all times. But if you go to the side of the map, the outer lanes of the map, there's usually just 1 or 2 areas the enemies could come from, and it's either in front of you or behind you. And if you see that you just spawned back there, chances are there's no enemies behind you. They're all going to be coming up from in front of you. And if there's a lane that comes to the side and stuff and hits that lane that you're currently in, well, then you know that there could be someone there as well. The best way to play this game is to stick to the edges of the map. So you could look towards the center from playing on the edges, but just don't go to the center itself. Like, it depends on the map. If you know that there's no one there, go through the center, but I don't recommend it. Going to number 3, you guys got to pre-aim those crosshairs at all times. A lot of people are going to tell you, oh, you don't have to pre-aim at all times. You do, at least the crosshairs. You don't have to aim down sights and walk around aiming down sights the whole time. That would just be super boring and annoying, and nobody wants to do that. But make sure that when you're running around in the map, your character's not looking at the floor, you're not looking at the sky. Your crosshair is nice centered exactly where you want it to be. If there's a window ahead of you and you think there could be an enemy in that window, have your crosshairs pointed right at that window, so that if somebody does pop up there, you don't have to readjust your aim. You don't have to do anything. All you gotta do is aim down sights and shoot, and it's that simple. So make sure you guys are centering those crosshairs at all times, especially when running around corners. Actually, not when running around corners. Do not run around corners. If you sprint around corners, you're putting yourself in a huge jeopardy. Okay, you don't want to do that. You do not want to be the guy who sprints around corners, and because most of the time there's just gonna be a guy sitting there waiting for you, and if you sprint, your sprint to fire speed is low, your reaction time is probably going to be lower, you're not going to be focusing all that great. He's just going to aim and shoot, and you're going to be gone. So definitely don't do that. Moving on to tip number 4, I want to say you got to make yourself a harder target to hit. Okay, you don't want to be an easy target to hit. And the other day I got someone who commented on my video. He was mad because I suggested this, but I'm always going to suggest this. It's in the game. You want to head glitch when you could head glitch. There's parts of the maps that a head glitch, by the way, some people ask me what it is, so I will explain it. A head glitch is when you stand behind an object and the enemy could only see your head sticking out. That's what a head glitch is. So you just stand behind an object. You might be able to see the whole entire map clearly, but the enemies will have a hard time hitting you because they will only see your head sticking out of that area. And I will always recommend doing that because, one, it's going to get you a lot of kills. I do it all the time and it really does work. Two, you're a really hard target to hit, so even if the enemies do see you, chances are they won't be able to kill you before you could kill them. You'll see their entire body. You have a huge canvas to shoot at. They're only going to see your head. So honestly, use it. It's in the game. There's literally every part of every single map has a head glitch. Use it, abuse it, do what you got to do with it. Let's move on to number 5. All right, I thought we were on 4. Number 5. Don't be a headless chicken. And what I mean by this is don't run around without an objective. You always got to be thinking of where the enemies are. You always got to be thinking of where you want to go, how you're going to get there, and all that kind of stuff. A lot of people play this game. They run, shoot, run, die, shoot, run, die, shoot, run, die. And it's not fun. Don't be a headless chicken, okay, man? You want to know where you're going. You have to have an objective. You have to have a goal. If you got to camp in a certain area, I don't recommend sitting in the same area the whole entire map, but we're going to get more onto that in a minute. But yeah, do it if you have to once in a while. We'll leave it at that until we get on to one of the other tips that talks about that. That's really important. Going to number 6, understand the minimap, and even without a UAV, you should know exactly where the enemies are going to be. Now this one, I'm gonna admit guys, it's tough to kind of learn, okay? It's going to take some time, especially if this is your first COD or anything like that. It's going to take some time, but you want to just understand the map. So if you have a UAV, you see red dots, perfect, easy, you know where the enemies are, they're at the red dots. If somebody's shooting on the map and they don't have a suppressor, perfect, easy, his red dot's there, you know where he's at. But how do you know where enemies are if you don't see red dots? Well, the best way to do this, and it's not 100%, it's never going to be 100%, but the best way to do this is to just look at the minimap and see where your teammates are. Chances are, if your teammates are there and they're not dying on the kill feed, that's the left that shows who kills who, chances are, you know the enemies aren't near your teammates. They're at the emptier spots of the map. If your whole team is on the left side and you're alone on the right side, all alone, and no one's dying or getting kills on your team, chances are all the enemies are near you. Get out of there. Unless you can win 6 people. Maybe not. Just get out of there, all right? But yeah, most of the time you should be able to know where the enemies are. If you spawn in a certain area, you know that the enemies are probably spawning at the opposite end on the other side of the map. It's just, you kind of have to learn these things by playing the game more. And the more you play, the easier it becomes. The more it is what it is, man. You got to play more, and that tip's going to come naturally. Going to a kind of bonus tip. This one isn't an actual tip that I wrote, but I just thought of while explaining that. You want to know the hottest areas in the map as well. You want to know where most people are going to be, where most people try to get, and all that kind of stuff. And you want to just wait them out. Just wait the enemies out. If the right side of the map is super popular and a lot of people like to go there, go hold a head glitch there. Shoot some bodies, shoot some people, do what you got to do. Let's move on. Number 7. Use the right loadout. Please use the right class, guys. Please, please, please. So many times I get into a game and people are rushing with snipers and they can't snipe. So don't use a sniper if you can't snipe. If you could, all props to you. Amazing. You're probably better than me at it. Keep doing it. And then I see people using LMGs on the smallest maps and they're rushing with it. If you're going to be rushing, your better option than an LMG would either be a shotgun. I don't recommend. I hate shotguns. An SMG or an AR. You don't want to run with a heavy gun. Now, if you're sitting back and stuff like that and you're kind of going for long shots, don't use an SMG. It just doesn't make sense. Use an AR. Use a sniper. Use an LMG. Do what you got to do. Let's move on to the next one. All right, guys? And this one is probably one of the most important ones, and then the one after this that I want to talk about is not as important, but everybody forgets it. But this one's probably one of the most important ones, okay? So rotate to different areas at all times. Don't sit and camp in one corner and wait for enemies to come to you. That's not fun. First of all, it's boring, and lastly, the enemies know where you're at and they're gonna come hard at you. All right, so don't do that. Don't be that guy. What you want to do is get a few kills in an area of the map. Let's say you're on the right side of the map. Get a few kills on the right side of the map. Move over to the left. And from there, you don't want to go through the middle of the map. You'll kind of want to wrap around, get to the left side, get a few kills there, move to the other side, go back and forth and all that kind of stuff. Just don't let the enemies know where you are. Don't let the enemies predict where you are, and don't let the enemies pre-fire or pre-aim at you. Not worth it. All right, let's move on to probably the one that I also forget about the most. And it's not that I forget about it. I know it's happening. I know it's going on, and I just kind of think I'm better than I actually am at the game, but it's not the case, okay? So if you get shot at, but you win the gunfight, do not get into another gunfight unless you absolutely have to, at least until you regen your health, okay? So if you get into a gunfight, you win it, and you're bloody, and you're about to die, you're one shot away from dying, don't get into another gunfight. If there's no enemies there, sit back, lie down, go to a corner, heal up, do what you gotta do, stim shot if you have to, do what you gotta do, and then get back into the gunfights. A lot of times I get shot at, I win the gunfight, and I keep pushing like a headless chicken, honestly, guys. And it just gets me killed so many times. And this is just a tip that I wanted to mention because a lot of us just seem to forget about it and just seem to ignore it. But if you're at 25 health and the enemy's at 150, even if you shoot first, he's probably gonna win. So yeah, keep that in mind as well. Last thing I want to talk about, and this one's also an important one, if you're playing the game and you're within, I'd say 30 meters from the enemy, you're pretty close to the enemy, not too far, before you even ADS, you want to start shooting your gun. And the reason you want to do this is because you want, the second you ADS, you want to already be shooting at him. You don't want to ADS and then shoot. You're probably going to lose a lot of gunfights like that. You want to kind of shoot and then ADS right after, like within a millisecond of each other. But the reason you want to do this also is because while you're hip firing before you ADS, you're probably going to hit 1 or 2 shots on the enemy. One of those stray bullets will go directly to him, and by the time you actually ADS, you will have him pretty weak. So it's worth it. And if the enemy waits to shoot until he's fully ADS, well then you already got 1 or 2 shot advantage. So it should be good. That's going to be it, man. Let me know down in the comments below, guys, what is your highest streak? Also, guys, I think this is day number 11. Someone could clarify that down in the comments below of my daily upload grind. I said I'm going to upload every single day of 2024. I started a few days before 2024, and I'm going to continue doing it. This is the most I've uploaded daily since like over a year ago, I think. So that I feel awesome about. I just want to get back on the grind, man. I got to do it. So if you could get some likes for that, I would appreciate it. Subs to the channel as well would be great. You're going to get a video every single day, absolutely free. Why not, right? So yeah, do it. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Nick. I hope these tips could help you guys out, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.